So I want to talk a little bit more about our bombing policy, though, because you see how excited the mainstream media largely, like they kind of want to clap a little bit. Look at it's U.S. force abroad, ooh-rah, look at red, white, and blue. Fox News, whatever criticism they once had of Donald Trump, and I understand that Fox and Friends did not, but other aspects of Fox did. Now he's dropping bombs, they're super excited. In the government, a lot of Democratic senators and representatives, especially a lot of Republicans, are totally fans of this. But bombing is complicated, and you can't simply talk about the cool, really big bombs. You have to acknowledge what actually goes on. In Syria, the US-led coalition accidentally bombed and killed 18 allied Syrian soldiers fighting against ISIS. That was yesterday, in what's being called the worst confirmed friendly fire incident in the war against ISIS thus far. Friendly fire happens in wars. 18 in one case, and it's apparently becoming more common. That is troubling. And if it is true that he's simply saying now launch more missions, I want to see more bombs being dropped, you might see more stuff like that start to happen. According to the report, those 18 who died had just finished fighting off an attempt by ISIS to take that town. They were regrouping inside of a building and it was blown up and they were killed. That's one friendly fire incident. We've been talking a lot about civilian casualties. Don't forget that a US airstrike in Mosul killed an estimated 200 civilians last month. That was one strike, killed 200 civilians. And by the way, Air Wars, which accumulates reports of both friendly fire incidents and also civilian casualties in war, said that in just March, there were 166 civilian casualties events in Iraq and Syria. It's a 67% increase since February, and it was already really high in February. There are literally thousands of civilians that died in Iraq and Syria just in March. We criticized Barack Obama for his strikes and the willingness to sacrifice civilians and how many died. The bar is going up every month in an incredibly scary way. It's troubling and difficult to make Barack Obama look like he was really trying to avoid civilian casualties, but Donald Trump is doing it.
And when we had adults running the Pentagon, they came and said, look, if you go and keep dumping bombs into the Middle East, what you're creating is a terrorism factory, right? Every bomb you drop is gonna produce hundreds, if not thousands of terrorists. Look, if you bomb my family, like even if it was like for a good purpose, like if I was working for the Allies and then you bomb my family, like I'm gonna wanna harm you to the end of my days, Like, and that's what we're doing when we drop bombs on our allies, on civilians, and even on our enemies. There is no bombing solution to the problem we've created in the Middle East, and it feels like the song that never ends for whoever we elect president. They're like, more bombs, it's like more cowbell, more bombs in the Middle East. No, I want them there, and like
bigger bombs.
It's the graveyard of empires. It's the graveyard of empires, and we have a mad emperor now who's gonna drop bombs all across the world, killing. He's a mass murderer already.
Yeah. If there was a bombing solution, we would have reached it 10 or 100,000 bombs ago, I think, because it's been a really long time. We've been in these conflicts for more than 3 times as long as I've been in this career. And it doesn't seem better. Does it seem better to you watching the video? Do you trust Donald Trump now that he just needed bigger bombs? That's the thing. We were dropping tiny bombs. That's not gonna get the job done. We just need big fat bombs.
Well, it depends on your metric of success. Your metric of success determines it. Raytheon stock has gone up. And Donald Trump owns some of it.
They think it was a success. Look at that, they're playing patriotic songs.
Yeah. I'm reminded of when we had Operation Rolling Thunder in Vietnam, and we bombed the shit out of the Vietnamese and bombed and
neighboring countries
and carpet bombed, and it took generations to repair the damage, but it did not deter the enemy, and it did not defeat them.
It emboldened them.
Yes, that's right. And I don't understand this idea of bombing as a kind of means to resolving anything. We have never done anything, ended anything by dumping more bombs on anything. So. There's clearly no student of history in the White House. There's just Trump and Bannon. Bannon sees this as probably a moment where now's the time to end it once and for all. And it's a lot of civilians are going to die, and it's unfortunate.
Just one other thing I want to mention. So I've been talking a lot since the mob was dropped about the precedent. It's a scary precedent. Now, granted, in the short term, we can't drop many more of them. There were only about 15 produced, but they could make more. So we've just dropped it in the desert, trying to avoid civilian casualties, if you believe the military. A big Trump supporter, sheriff, tweeted this. I've been saying this for 10 years, enough is enough. This Moab can be used on Mexican drug cartel. These are good days ahead. That guy does not have government authority, but now it's been used. The precedent has been set. If it was used in a remote province in Afghanistan, where might it be used tomorrow or next week? Will they produce more? We've already begun dropping them. When will we stop?
The most fascinating part about that article is that guy, I think, was an elector, right? In the electoral college.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I think he was a Republican elector that voted for Donald Trump. So if you want to see like the people that go to the electoral college, right, and like actually choose our president, it's like some sheriff like cheerleading us dropping bombs on like, you know, a lot of civilians and allied fighters and, you know, people throughout the Middle East. You know, those are the people that pick the president. It's not you and me. No. We choose some county sheriff, you know, that like tweets more idiotic things than Trump even does.
Yeah.
And that's who chooses the president.
Yeah.
I'm from Ohio, and that's where I was born, and I have never confronted this level of ignorance even when I was growing up there. So this is pretty fucking amazing. Good days ahead. Yeah, we just fly over the border into Mexican airspace, drop that bomb on a bunch of people we think are dealing drugs, and we fix that whole drug problem.
Yeah,
just fix it. Couple more
I heard there's a lot of drug dealers in Mexico City.
You know what?
So just vaporize it with the mother of all bombs. Problem solved.
You probably saw the similarity between the tunnels and thought tunnels.
It
can destroy
like everyone's working
tunnels.
like termites in these like so we can drop.
We should start a petition to bomb the border, to shut down all the drug cartel tunnels, like bomb the American border. We should just drop a Moab on the American border.
Signatures.
Yeah, and then we can build a wall out of the rubble that's created from the bombs dropping. It'll be like in Spartacus if you watched that. You know, they had the dug trench and then the wall. That's what we can create.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks. You power this show. Together we built something amazing. We've broken stories like the Donna Brazil story the mainstream media wouldn't break. We built the studio, we built this network. It's now #1, all thanks to you guys. Let's come build it even bigger and stronger. tytnetwork.com/join.